General J.B. McCuskey. It's good to see you, General. You just heard me speak about the deceptive ad Ontario ran on the air for using President Reagan. The Ronald Reagan Presidential Foundation and Institute reacted to the news, posting a statement on X reading in part, quote, "The ad misrepresents the presidential radio address, and the government of Ontario did not seek nor receive permission to use and edit the remarks. The Ronald Reagan Presidential Foundation and Institute is reviewing its legal options in this matter." Mr. Attorney General, do you think they have a case?
You know, anytime you're dealing with somebody who's willing to rip you off on trade, they're probably willing to rip off of your trademark infringements as well. You know, it is really remarkable to watch people scramble to try to make up for what was lost. And President Trump, in just about a year, has really changed the way that the rest of the world sees us and has changed our trade policy in ways that no one's probably ever accomplished in that short amount of time.
U.S. Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche writing a letter to top California officials warning them against any attempts to arrest or impede federal law enforcement officers enforcing U.S. immigration law. The letter comes after Nancy Pelosi issued a statement earlier this week threatening to arrest federal agents if they break California law. Is Nancy Pelosi so far gone that she's forgotten about something that we call the Supremacy Clause in the U.S. Constitution? Mr. Attorney General, can you remind Ms. Pelosi, while you're doing that, remind her of the Supremacy Clause, also while you're speaking of the dangers of her insurrectionist behavior?
Yeah, so the answer to your question is yes. And it is so beyond the pale of what is legal and what is rational for a state government to seek to arrest a federal agent acting under color of their authority. And it is really remarkable how far the left will go to allow people to break our laws. And at some point, somebody's going to have to hold this lady accountable. And I'm very hopeful the voters of California do that at the ballot box here in about a year.
Yeah, sooner or later, somebody's going to have to go to jail, in my opinion, Mr. Attorney General. That leads me to my next question. I'm sure you've been as horrified as I have been to see these deadly crashes caused by criminal illegal aliens who were given real IDs in the form of commercial driver's licenses from the People's Republic of California and New York. Real ID requires verified identification. Reports say that California issued over 65,000 of these apparent illegal IDs. So that means that these states either didn't follow the law or knowingly issued driver's licenses to known illegal alien criminals, and it's killing people, literally. In my view, the governments of California and of New York, Mr. Attorney General, are guilty of criminal acts that enable America's enemies, could enable terrorists and illegal alien criminals. And I say all government officials responsible in those states should be arrested in the deaths of these people on the roadways. Now, look, I'm no lawyer, so why don't you tell me where my opinion is going wrong here?
Well, arresting these folks would probably be a little bit more difficult than it will be to hold California and states like this accountable for not being part of our American compact. At the end of the day, every one of these roads is funded by the federal government. And if they don't want to play by the rules that the federal government sets out for highway safety, I'll be really interested to see how broke California is able to repair their potholes this winter. This is completely unbelievable. The video that you just showed makes me shudder every single time. I have a lot of friends who drive over the road trucks, and they tell me that it has never been more dangerous in this country to drive a car, and specifically to be another truck driver, with so many unsafe drivers on the road, many of whom have been allowed to do this by states like California and New York.
Yeah, Mr. Attorney General, before I move on to the next question, I just want to ask, is the Real ID federal law optional? Can California just say, you know what, I don't want to comply with the damn law? Because New York is actually putting on driver's licenses non-identified person, no name given. That's what it's putting on the actual ID, no name given. Do states have the ability to say, you know what, I don't want to obey this federal law today. I'm going to just not do it. Do they have the right to do that?
They're allowed to do whatever they want, but every single one of those decisions comes with consequences. And if you want to get onto an airplane, if you want to do anything in interstate commerce that is regulated through, like we've talked about before, the Supremacy Clause, these are the rules that you have to follow. And if they don't want to follow them, they're going to have to figure out their own ways to get airplanes to land, to get trucks across the road, and to fund things like SNAP and Medicare, all of which require the federal government's funding for them to be viable in those states.
I got two more questions and 2 minutes to get them in. You're leading a coalition of 17 states calling on the Trump administration to decline participation in the upcoming United Nations Climate Change Conference, scheduled in Brazil, I think. Explain why.
Yeah, so the Green New scam has been debunked here in America, but the rest of the world seeks to see us fail. And groups like this want nothing more than for Americans to forgo the usage of coal and natural gas to make our electricity, because they know a weak America is an America that they can control in trade. And so there is no reason to go to a conference that does not have any interest in rational energy policy, and so many of its members are completely committed to ensuring that America finishes dead last in the race to AI and in the race to energize the rest of the world. And so participation in this group has absolutely no upside for the United States. And I'm very, very happy that the White House is going to forgo going to talk to a bunch of people that hate us and want to make sure that our businesses fail.
Very quickly, as you know, there is a man, I use the term loosely, who is running for AG in Virginia. The Democrat's name is Jay Jones. He has expressed a desire to see his political opponents and their children dead. Does a person like that belong in government in your view, sir?
The answer to that question is no. The fact that the Democrats in Virginia haven't asked him to step aside is outrageous. Jason Mears, the Republican candidate in Virginia, is a great guy, a law and order man, a wonderful husband, a wonderful father, and he's been a great attorney general. There is no more important election coming up than making sure that Jason Mears is elected in Virginia and ensuring that Jay Jones, who we know doesn't have the temperament or the background to manage this office, is anywhere near the power that the Attorney General of Virginia would have. So go vote for Jason, and it is just deplorable that Jones has not dropped out of this race.
Wow. J.B. McCuskey, thank you very much, sir. Appreciate the time and opinion, sir. Straight ahead.